Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner. I would do anything to see him in a Bruins uniform. Guy's going to become a free agent this summer. Don't know where the talks are at with Toronto. Nothing, no extension yet. They probably have the cap space to do so, but this is the dude who's going to be the first one to get the big bag with the expanded salary cap. Like, I guess Rantanen a little bit as well. You only got 12. Marner's going to get $14 million a year on the open market. The Bruins have $27 million in cap space. They need a playmaker. The Bruins need to stop being in the sense of, we need this big defenseman. We need this center. You need production. You need goals. You need wins. And those come with Mitch Marner. Much maligned by the Boston fan base, of course, because he's been playing with Toronto. The playoff numbers aren't up there, although one year he had a pretty good year. But this is a 100-point guy in Mitch Marner. And the Bruins could absolutely 1,000% use this guy. And I know there are still Bruins fans, probably some who watch this video, who say, no, Mitch Marner, what are you kidding me? That soft ass, that candy ass from Toronto? Yeah. One of the best two-way forwards in the entire league. One of the best playmaking wingers in the league. One of the best playmaking wingers in the league this decade. Mitch Marner, that guy. I would do anything for him to be on the Bruins. He's going to get to 100 points, probably in their next game. He's already got 72 assists this year and 97 points. And is still one of the best defensive forwards in the league year in, year out. He's going to turn 28 in early May. So by the time he's a free agent, he will still be in his prime at 28 years old. If I'm the Boston Bruins, I'm giving that guy a bag. And I'm not the only one thinking that, because there's a new story that kind of sparks this. This is from NHL Trade Rumors. And here's what it says. The inside scoop. The Bruins aren't just interested. They're all in. We're talking a potential $14 million AAV mega deal to steal Marner from Toronto. This isn't just about adding talent. It's about sending a thunderous message. The Bruins are back, and they're coming for the cup. There's obviously more than one move that needs to be made for the Bruins to be sending that kind of message, to be saying we're contenders again. But the biggest one that any team in the league can make this summer is to go out and get Mitch Marner. And I don't think it's that crazy. You know, obviously, Toronto's got the space to re-sign him, and I'm sure he's somewhere high up on the priority list, but I don't know that he's number one. And he has been dangled in trades by Toronto before, at least two that we know of, that two times they tried to trade him. And so I don't know how the relationship is between Mitch Marner and the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I know that the Bruins really need a center. They need a franchise center. But again, taking it back a step, what they need is creativity. They need offense. They need playmaking. That's Mitch Marner. And they want a guy who plays a 200-foot game. They want to make everyone a Patrice Bergeron. Those don't grow on trees. But you want a guy who has the offensive creativity of Patrice Bergeron and then some, and a guy who finishes in the top 10 or 15 in Selke voting every year? That's Mitch Marner. I don't give a shit what position he plays. The dude produces, and he makes his team better. And of course, you know, there'll be people who say, well, yeah, he's playing on the same line as Austin Matthews. Well, in Boston, he'd be playing on the same line as David Pastrnak. They'd be the two wingers on that first line. I don't think either one of them cares what side you put him on. David Pastrnak's having a better year than Austin Matthews is. He's just as gifted a goal scorer as Austin Matthews is. As much as we put Matthews on that pedestal, right below Connor McDavid, the stuff that David Pastrnak is doing this year with this team is incredible. Adding Mitch Marner to that would get you back into playoff conversation, even with a ton of holes still on your team. So to those Bruins fans who think he's just some soft candy ass that you would never want on your team, can you check the stats for me, please? Because there is no good excuse for not wanting Mitch Marner on your team. Whether they can make it work out, that's another thing. But there's no excuse to not want him on this team. And you just look as recently as the other night against Tampa. Absolute playoff-style game in Tampa, two teams at the top of the Atlantic Division. Toronto coming off a bad game against Florida. They blitz Tampa. 2 goals in the first 3.5 minutes. Marner scores the first one, a really slick feed to set up the second one. He sets up another assist later and has a part to play in the game-winning goal. 3 points in what was one of the biggest games of the season. That was a playoff game, essentially. And he gave you 3 points in this. This kid is an absolute stud. An absolute stud. A guy who probably isn't talked about as much as he should be. I don't know about Toronto, but maybe here in the States because he plays on the same line as Austin Matthews. But I think this kid's really like a top 10 forward in the league. I think he's still undervalued, and he's going to get $14 million, whether it's from the Bruins or the Leafs or whomever. But that would be a clear sign of intent from Don Sweeney, and it's a way to probably, I would say, save his job. The article goes on to say, and if Marner slips away, plan B is just as explosive. Brock Boeser, Nikolaj Ehlers, or even a reunion with Brad Marchand, if the cap gods allow. One way or another, Boston is hunting for a game changer. So I have to disagree on this. Plan B is not just as explosive. Nikolaj Ehlers, nice player. Like him. Wouldn't mind if the Bruins got him. Brock Boeser, lean year and a half here, but still a pretty good player. Brad Marchand, not even close. None of those guys are in the same tier as Mitch Marner and his 200-foot game and his offensive creativity. We're talking about a guy who is right around 100 points every year, and he's going to get to it this year. Like, you look at the guys that he is compared to, just statistical analysis, who he's compared to. Peter Stastny, Ilya Kovalchuk, Peter Forsberg, Luc Robitaille, Marcel Dion, 700 goal scorer, Marcel Dion, Sebastian Aho, Braden Point, Kyle Connor, Sasha Barkov, Cam Neely, Jake Gensel, Mikko Rantanen. Let me know when you hear a guy that you wouldn't take on the Bruins. Just stop me when you're like, no, I wouldn't take him on this Bruins team. The current guys, Aho, Point, Connor, Barkov, Gensel. I'd take any one of those guys on the Bruins. I'd give any one of them north of $10 million. So, yeah, I would take Mitch Marner in a heartbeat, man. An absolute heartbeat. Now, I know he hasn't gotten to 100 points yet, but look at this. You know, it's 97, 99, 85 in only 69 games last year, and 97 in 77 games this year. Oh, but he won't be playing with Austin Matthews. You're right. He'll be playing with a better goal scorer right now, David Pastrnak. A better offensive player in David Pastrnak. And at that point, put whomever the hell you want at center. You can put Elias Lindholm out there to make you feel better about yourself, to help Don Sweeney sleep better at night and say, well, at least he turned into a number one center because I have two of the best playmaking wingers in the league. That would instantly boost the Bruins next year. And we know for a good, more than half of this season, the Bruins were either in the playoff picture, like statistically, or right there. So, yeah, they're going to finish maybe in the basement or second worst in the East. But we know that's probably not exactly what they are for a full 82-game stretch. They sold it. They had an absolute yard sale at the trade deadline. Charlie McAvoy's out the last 2 months of the season. If you add, bring McAvoy back and add someone like Mitch Marner to this team, I'm not saying you're in the playoffs, but you're right there. It'd be tough to have two of the best playmaking wingers in the league and not be there. And I'm interested to see how the Bruins do approach this July, really. $27 million in cap space with the new CBA. They need to be aggressive, but they have plenty of holes to fill. This Fraser Minton kid looks good. I think he'll probably be with the big club next year. Matt Poitras needs to have a big year. But the biggest need that you can identify in free agency, is probably extend Morgan Geekie, who should, as Matt Barry said on the show yesterday, I totally agree with, should probably give half his salary to David Pastrnak. He's not going to be very useful if he's not playing with a guy like Pastrnak or Marner. And then go out and get Mitch Marner. Put all the all the Toronto hate to the side, because trust me, I still love trolling Toronto. And if Mitch Marner is a bad postseason and they go out in the first round, I will still troll Toronto. But it's not going to change how much I want the kid, man. This kid's so good, like so good, and so much better than anything the Bruins have right now outside of David Pastrnak. It's not even close, man. And maybe Captain Nikita Zadorov will whip him into shape when it comes to playoff time. But I would take Mitch Marner in a Bruins jersey in a second. In a second. Like, no questions asked. Bring me Mitch Marner. Please, please, please. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. About 90% of you watching are not subscribed to the channel. Give us that subscribe, because we're giving you nothing but Boston sports content 5 days a week. We're live on YouTube every weekday at high noon Eastern time, and then available wherever you get your podcast. Zach Burke keeps us on the air. I'm Cam Stuart, your host. Check out the other videos on the YouTube channel. Again, give us the like, give us the subscription, and we will deliver the Boston sports news for you. Tell me what you think about Mitch Marner in the comments below. Coming up on the Cam Show, we're going to bring Zach in here. We're going to rope him in, and he's going to tell us why Pat Riley is not a top 5 coach in NBA history. That is coming up next on the Cam Show.